everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. ASMR is coming up in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I decided to read chapter 2 of my book. I will warn you, I'm still kind of working on it, so it's not very good. And if I know you in real life, and you've been reading this in real life, um, just so you know, I've started working on the second book, Melons Beyond the Melons. Okay. Chapter 2, a montage of Willa screaming. A lot. Willa sprinted back home in a panic, Hermione wrapped up in her arms. Her mom had left for work earlier, so she yanked the door open and slammed it shut. She rushed up the stairs, taking 2 steps at a time. Willa jumped onto her large canopy bed and started replaying everything that had just happened while hyperventilating. The encounter was so strange. What had that lady said to her? Don't trust a girl with pink hair. There were tons of people with pink hair in the world. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. She walked back downstairs and opened the door. Ha! No one was there. She looked down and saw a letter with a gold seal that had a tiny sun on it. As Willa carried it to the kitchen, she noticed it had no seal. Wait, she noticed it had no stamp. Sitting on the stool at her counter, she opened the envelope, tearing off the seal and grabbing the note. It was folded 3 times over, the creases lightly affecting the paper. The note had neat handwriting that spelled out, Dear Miss Vesta, sincerely Mr. Sunny. What kind of letter is that? She thought. It's blank. She shoved it in her pocket to throw away. Willa turned around to find her mother standing in front of her. Willa stared at the floor, pretending she couldn't feel her mother's eyes boring into her. What's wrong? Her mom asked, face examining every detail. Nothing, her voice squeaked, as it often did when she was lying. When did you get home? Willa asked, trying to change the subject. She tucked a lock of hair behind her ear, and while her mother's eyes traced that, the other hand shoved the letter deeper into her pocket. While the note wasn't bad or anything, her mother would most definitely assume it was something worse that she needed to interrogate Willa on. Just now, what's going on? She shrugged. Nothing, it's probably just some kid's idea of a joke. What is it? Just a blanket letter. She dug the note out of her pocket, passing it into her mother's hands. Her mom's eyes flashed with worry as her finger traced over the sun. Willa blinked and her mother's face was back to normal. Well, lunch is in the oven. Uh, go set the table, she stuttered, swallowing. She pointed a finger behind her and into the kitchen, pushing her glasses up her nose. Thea turned around, walking back into the kitchen. Willa's eyebrows creased. Her mom seemed very flustered for a woman who spent the entire morning making sure her bun was straight. Sure thing, Mom, she said in a fake enthusiastic voice. The woman gave her a look, but Willa ignored it. The next morning, Willa woke up with a bad case of bedhead. To tame her frizzy locks, she braided them back into French braids. She grabbed her backpack, went downstairs, said bye to her mom, and headed off to school. Once she left the house, she pulled a phone from her bag. The screen dimly lit up in the bright sun. She fumbled in her pocket for some earbuds before plugging them into the phone. She put the 2 pieces into her ears, clicking onto the music app. The volume was, of course, turned to the loudest setting. She set the phone back into her bag and listened to music the rest of the way to school. After a long walk, Willa finally got to school. She walked into the big black doors and into Clearview High for the last time until next year. She walked down to her first class with Miss Meg. Willa ran to her seat and organized her pencils. Miss Meg rose from her seat and clapped her hands. Class, may I have your attention? The chatter died down and everyone turned to face her. All right, today we are talking about... Willa tuned her out. She was way too engrossed in thinking about last night and how her mom had acted to the stupid letter. After school, Willa headed outside and walked home. She headed inside and into the kitchen. Hey, honey, I made you a snack. On the table lay a plateful of hot, steamy brownies. Willa wolfed down a brownie in one bite. Thanks, Mom, said Willa. Her mouth was so full, it actually sounded like Fank's wolf. Thank God her mom was back to normal. She went back to her room and opened her book. It was called Whistlemore and the Great Escape. In the book, Whistlemore was trying to escape from the deadly maze of doom. Suddenly, a strange noise came from outside. Grabbing a bookmark, she shut her book and left her room. She stepped outside, the bright sunlight momentarily blinding her. She set a hand above her brow, blocking out the sun to allow her to see where the noise came from. Ah! She squeaked. Willa sprinted back inside, and then turned around and ran right back out. She rubbed her eyes, making sure she wasn't going insane. Standing right in front of her, just chilling in the middle of the street, were 2 unicorns. One was slightly taller, with a pink tint to its skin. Its fur was fluffy and quite long, hanging close to the floor. It had a blue horn swirling with white, as pointy as a pencil. The other was quite large, with black fur cut close to its skin. Their horn was longer, close to a deep green hue. They both had matching maroon eyes, large and watery. Both also had leathery wings flowing in the air. For a second, Willow realized no one else noticed the supposed unicorns. Then she realized they were beckoning onto her back. What was going on? Okay, clearly she was insane. Unicorns don't exist. This was like one of her childhood dreams, except now it was a nightmare. But they must be real if they were standing 2 feet in front of her. Unless she was hallucinating. Was she hallucinating? Half of her was screaming, run, run far away, but the other part wanted to get on their backs and fly far, far away. Get away from this life. She took a baby step on the one with a pinkish tint to its skin. It had a collar with a copper bell on it. It said Luna. She approached the one with a greenhorn. It had a collar with the name Magnus. Magnus and Luna. Cute. What was that, honey? Her old neighbor, Miss Periwinkle, called from across the street. Nothing, she yelled back. Suddenly, Miss Periwinkle's eyes flashed bright blue, and in a trance-like state, she said, in a time of fear and terror, a girl came as a sharer, to help us from the world above, with no help, not even a dove. She helped us all, she was no fretter. Make sure you don't forget your letter. Willa blinked, hands hovering over Magnus's skin. Miss Periwinkle's eyes went back to normal, smiling in confusion. Oh, what was that, honey? She repeated. Willa ignored her, sprinting back inside. This can't be happening, she mumbled under her breath. Breathing heavily, Willa ran upstairs to grab her mom's old navy backpack. Willa grabbed a jacket, a book, and some shirts. She had read enough books to know that if she left, she might not come back for a while. Then she remembered the last line from Miss Periwinkle's poem. Make sure you don't forget your letter. Now, where had her mom put the letter? Willa ran all over the house, tearing open drawers and throwing papers onto the floor. Where was it? She looked around desperately. This was her one chance to have something fun happen in her life, but it was all going to be over before it even started. She spun around to go upstairs, but slipped and fell on the floor. Rubbing her head, she sat up. Yes! She exclaimed. She yanked the letter off the floor, grabbing it and jumping up and down, clutching the note to her chest. She held on tightly, running back outside. Seeing the unicorn still there, she pinched herself to make sure this wasn't a dream. Ow, she cried. Nope, not a dream. She paused as the horses whinnied loudly. Was she really going to do this? She nodded to herself. Willis slung the bag over her shoulder, tiptoeing closer to the unicorns. Finally, she got onto Magnus's back. She slung her leg over his fur, climbing on. She looked around for something to grab onto, but there was nothing. Suddenly, Magnus bent his knees, pushing up into the air. Luna pushed up after him, trailing close behind them. Ah, stop, stop, she screamed. She grabbed onto his fur with a death grip. That was good because his fur was silky smooth. So smooth, it was slippery. She swung in a circle, flying. He swung in a circle, flying upside down. Her hair covered her face, blocking her view as strands clung to her lip gloss. Magnus turned back upright, and Willa almost fell off. She sputtered, spitting the hair out of her mouth. I changed my mind. I want to go back. She was freaking out. Magnus, take me home. The unicorn ignored her. After more funny business with the unicorn, Willa got used to flying, and the ride was a bit more fun from then on. They swooped and dived. The sky was gorgeous. Light blues and pinks flooded the sky like a wave. Clouds as soft as a blanket coated the view, breaking apart into tiny particles as they rode through them. When they finally straightened out, Willa pulled the letter from her jacket, remembering that strange poem. What had Miss Periwinkle said to make her act like that? Shaking those thoughts from her mind, she opened the blank letter. Willa gasped. There was writing on the paper. Dear Miss Vesta, you have been accepted into Mr. Sunny's Academy of Maths. This may come as a shock to you. If so, ask questions when you arrive at the academy. I hope the Drackhorns fly well. We hope to see you soon. Sincerely, Mr. Sunny. Willa's jaw dropped. Was this some sort of sick prank? But it couldn't be. These unicorns, or Drackhorns, were real. She was actually in the sky. Her mind raced with questions. Why had her mother acted so strangely about the letter? Where had these animals come from? Was her mom wondering where she was? Willa looked up from the letter to see the ground rapidly approaching. Oh no, Magnus, stop! She yanked on his fur, causing him to whinny and fly down faster. She shut her eyes, blocking out the world around her and bracing for impact. Nothing. Willa opened her eyes. Whoa, she breathed. They had landed safely on a small patch of grass on the edge of an island. Where there normally would have been water, there was a strange milky pink liquid lapping up on the grass. There's a castle-like building with bright yellow flags on tall white pillars, with that familiar sun from the letter on them. There's a huge courtyard with tons of kids running around, some older, some younger. This school was about the size of a mansion, stretching far and wide. She heard some yelling and looked up towards the sky. 3 more Drackhorns flew down, landing beside Magnus and Luna with a soft thud. They landed, and 3 girls hopped off. One had blonde hair that was twisted up into a French braid. Another girl was wearing a blue crop top, with dark brown hair flowing down her back in loose curls. The last girl had fiery red hair, and seemed to have a confident energy radiate off her. The girls' mouths dropped upon seeing the island for the first time. A man, a bit younger than her grandfather, walked up to them. He had a bright yellow suit on and a matching bow tie. His mustache curled up on the edges as he smiled at them warmly. Hello, children. My name is Mr. Sunny. What are your names? His voice was cheerful and deep. What? Will breathed. She backed up, bumping into another one of the girls. Hey, watch out, the girl yelped, though a tremor of fear was visible on her pale skin. Hmm. The man called their attention again. I asked you a question. I'm Pfeiffer? The girl with red hair said hesitantly. I'm from Maricel. Like in Illinois? Willa asked, her eyebrows creased. Pfeiffer looked confused. No, Pfeiffer said like she was an idiot. Like in France? Willa's jaw dropped. Look, I know I don't have a strong accent. I was adopted. You don't have to act shocked. Willa took a quick glance to see if any of the other girls were as confused as she were. Are we in France right now? Right now? Willa asked. Mr. Sunny, the girl with brown hair asked. I don't know if it's just me, or is anyone else confused? Everyone raised their hands. Also, what in the world is a dracorn? Willa asked. A dracorn is a mix of a unicorn and a dragon. Now come with me and I will explain everything, Mr. Sunny ordered. He walked them down the courtyard to the massive building. When they were walking, Willa saw some kids hanging out in the yard. One girl stalked up to a boy and said, Jack, get a load of this. The boy, Jack, whipped around to see the girl's hand thrust forward and, OMG, Willa screamed. Mr. Sunny and the girl stopped walking. Willa, is everything all right? Not questioning how he knew her name, she said, that girl, her hands, lightning came out of that girl's hands. Jack, Gemma, come over here, Mr. Sunny said. The kids ran over and said, It wasn't me. Jinx, Jinx again. Stop copying me, the children said in unison. What did I say about fighting? You scared Willa, he said. Who's Willa? Gemma asked. Gemma, Jack, meet the girls. They're new transfers here. The kids looked at each other and said, Oh, and then ran off. Sorry, kids, let me get back to what I was saying. You girls have been brought here because you're special. He got a gleam in his eyes like he was telling an old tale. See, we're in a world called Apuni Malu. So yeah, that was chapter 2. Let me know if you want me to read chapter 3 in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And that's all for now. Bye!